All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we're going to be checking out the green cards from OP07. So, spoiler warning, that's obviously what this is. We're going to be looking at the OP07 green cards coming out in the East. In the East, they're coming out in literally, on this weekend. It's coming out this weekend for them. So we're going to go ahead and dive straight into it. All right, but spoiler warning, now's your chance to back out if you do not want to see these spoilers, because they're not coming out for us for a good, 3 or 4 months. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it. So first up, we're going to talk about the green leader, Jewelry Bonnie. It is a 5-life, 5,000 power, green Supernova Bonnie Pirates type leader. With the effect of on your opponent's attack, once per turn, pay 1. Okay, pay 1. Rest up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards. Wow. So that's very strong, right? That is very powerful. As far as it's hard to rate leaders. I am going to try to give my quick opinion on each one of these, and then like a rating, a 1 out of 10 rating. This is probably one of the most powerful leader effects in the game, just per base power level, however you'd say that. This is a very powerful effect. I'm not saying it's broken. I'm just saying that it's an effect that you can build the deck any way you want to around it, as long as you're leaving one Dawn open every single turn. At the end of that turn, your opponent is going to lose one attack every single turn. So like you imagine, beige is a very strong trigger effect, where it just says target, character, character cannot attack this turn. Well, this is just every turn after your first attack, one character or one leader is not attacking you. This is a 9 out of 10 as far as like leader power level goes. This is incredibly powerful. Really, really strong stuff here. I expect this leader to be, again, it's going to depend on what kind of support the leader has. But this effect, this is one of the best leader effects I've ever seen, at least from a defensive standpoint, right? I should specify. From a defensive standpoint, this is absolutely incredible. And if you think about the way this works, this is going to have immediate synergy with cards like 10-cost Doflamingo. Now, it doesn't have the same searcher words. This is a Supernova Bonnie Pirates type, and Doflamingo's Don Quixote Pirates. But it's like, okay, that would still be an incredible boss card in a deck like this, because if they attack with a character or a leader and then you pay 1 to rest one of their others, well, your Doflamingo is now coming in to lock down at least 2 cards. So just really powerful. I can't say enough good things about this. This is like a 9.5 out of 10. Awesome. Okay, and now this parallel art is excellent. This parallel art is really, really solid. Big fan of this. Got Kuma in the background. Yeah, this is awesome. Really solid parallel art. Okay, next up we have Aladdin, or Aladdin, Aladdin, however you say that. He is a 5-cost, 6,000 power green Merfolk Sun Pirates type character with blocker and on KO. If your leader has the Fishman type, play up to 1 Fishman or Merfolk type character card with a cost of 3 or less from your hand. Okay, well, this is a card where, like, if Merfolk ever becomes strong, which at the time of me recording this, they're not. But if Merfolk ever becomes really powerful, this is just a very solid card, a very good supporting card. It doesn't have a 1K counter. I'm pretty sure we've seen 5-cost 6Ks with 1K counters. Like, I think Diamante, even in green, is a 5-cost 6K blocker with a 1K counter. So that kind of hurts it a little bit for me, but it's still it's potentially a very powerful card. So I'm going to give this one I'm going to give this like a 6 out of 10. I think it's a little better than average. Even though the stats are not like vanilla, I think it's a little bit better than average with that on KO, because you're going to be able to cheat a card into play. So it has good utility there on a pretty big body. Okay, next up we have, wow, how do you even say this? Urog? I have no idea how to say this one. Urog? We'll just call him that. So this is a 4-cost 5K green Supernova Fallen Monk Pirates type character. That sounds really cool. Supernova Fallen Monk Pirates. That sounds really cool to me. And he is a blocker, so another blocker. And at the end of your turn, set up to 1 of your Dawn cards as active. That's nice. Now, this is going to be very good for Bonnie. It is a Supernova, and it's gonna make one of your Dawn active at the end of the turn. So that this card is solid, especially in conjunction with the leader you'd probably be running it in, and just in any leader, you're still getting one Dawn active. So if you have any kind of one cost event, like if maybe it's a red-green deck, that would help you with a Radical Beam. If it's a green-yellow deck, you'd have access to the Narkabura Arrow. Yeah, I think this card is outstanding. It's 4-cost 5k blocker, 1k counter, end of your turn. You're going to get its effect right away at the end of that turn. So I think this is like a really good, like 7.5 out of 10. It's not like a broken card. It's just an incredibly powerful card. Or an incredibly solid card would be a better way to say it. Okay, we got Otama here. This is a 1-cost, 0-power, 2,000 counter Land of Wano character with an on-play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 green Land of Wano type card other than Otama, and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this is a 1-cost searcher 2k counter. Yep, that's going to go in the 9 out of 10 range for a Land of Wano deck. I guess for anything else, it's still a 2k counter, right? You could just randomly put this in a deck that splashes green, and it's still a 2k counter. So it's automatically like at a 7 out of 10, right? But then this also has the ability to do a top 5 search. Like this is basically the Buena Fiesta of Land of Wano. Like the purple Buena Fiesta card, purple. This is green's Land of Wano version. So very, very solid. I'm giving this like a 9 out of 10. Just excellent card for what it does, like everything it does. And there's a parallel art version. Very solid. Very, very nice parallel art. I like it way better than the normal picture. And I will say I'm pretty picky with these. I typically like the standard art better, but look at that parallel art. That is awesome. Really awesome art there. Excellent. Okay, next up we have Caribou. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power, 1,000 counter. Another blocker. Another blocker, guys. That's crazy. Supernova Caribou Pirates type. Excuse me. If you have 6 or more rested Dawn cards, this character gains plus 1,000 power. So notice you can use that offensively. It's not on your opponent's turn like how Borsalino is, for example. If you just rest 6 Dawn cards to play out a character or to do whatever for the turn, this guy's 6,000 power swinging. But also as a blocker on your opponent's turn as well, because this is not a your turn only effect. Or your opponent's turn only effect. It is a just blanket effect. This card is solid. I'm giving this a 7.5 out of 10. This card is great. Okay, next up we have Koala. This is a 3-cost, 0 power, 1,000 counter, full shout island type character. With the effect, is this another blocker? With the effect of on your opponent's attack, you may rest this character up to one of your Fishman type characters with a cost of 5 or less gains blocker during this turn. Okay, so it's not literally a blocker, but it can give one of your Fishman pirate, or excuse me, I keep saying Fishman pirates, your Fishman type characters of a cost of 5 or less blocker. So yeah, this does require setup, and otherwise this is just a pretty dead card. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I mean it could, you know, it could make something a blocker, maybe potentially help you win a game, but otherwise it's a 1k counter. Yeah, I'm going to go with like a 4 out of 10 on this one. So I don't think this card is as good as just a 3-cost vanilla would be a 3-cost 5k with a 1k counter. I would just rather have that. I get it. This is supposed to be utility and give cards blocker that wouldn't normally have blocker. But the type is not searchable from anything I'm aware of, you know, at least at the time of us recording this video. And the effect is not exactly incredible. It doesn't help you win. It just kind of helps prevent you from losing in certain situations, if that makes sense. You know, again, I'm not saying it's a bad card, but realistically, it's probably like a 3 out of 10, like somewhere between a 3 and a 4 out of 10. Not a huge fan of this one. Next up, we have Korabo. This is a 3-cost, 3,000 power, no counter, Supernova Caribou Pirates. Okay, 3 cost, 3,000 power, no counter. Red flags are immediately going up, so this must have a very powerful effect. Play up to 1 Caribou with a cost of 4 or less from your hand rested. Okay, now it makes a little more sense. So essentially what you're trying to do is you're playing out this 3-cost 3k, and you're also going to be able to cheat out a 4-cost, you know, potentially a 4-cost 5k or a 4-cost 6k vanilla or something like that. Play up to 1 Caribou. Didn't we look at one? Oh, so it's going to throw out this card. So you're going to get a 3-cost 3k and a 4-cost, this 4-cost 5k, potentially 4-cost 6k. Not bad. You know, it's definitely not bad, but I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't like when you have to combo specific cards One reason the film cards are so strong, like the green film cards are so strong right now, is they allow you to cheat out. There is some specificity. They allow you to cheat out any, I think it's Straw Hat or film card. I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's only film card, but that's a lot of different cards. Whereas this card can only cheat out a Caribou that is 4 cost or less. So, again, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'll give it, it's still a 5 out of 10. I think it's, or maybe a 4 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 because by itself, a 3 cost 3K is just miserable. And it doesn't even have a 1K counter. And even if you have Caribou in hand, it would only put it like maybe at a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10 for tempo. So I'm going to give it like a 3 out of 10. Okay, next up we got Jewelry Bonnie. This is a SR. Let me put my glasses on for this. I don't want to misread anything. So this is a 5 cost, 6,000 power, 1,000 counter, Supernova, Bonnie Pirates type character. With the effect of, on play, up to one of your opponent's rested... sorry guys, I thought I heard something. On play, up to one of your opponent's rested character or Dawn cards will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. Wow. So we've got a miniature version of Doflamingo here. And this is a 5 cost... 6,000 power, 1,000 counter character. 5 cost is very important in green because that is the number for Law, right? Like Law's number allows you to pop down a 5 cost character maximum. That's the highest it can be. And this also combos with Rosinante, right? The 8 cost, I think it's a secret rare Rosinante. This card is very nice. 5 cost, 6K, 1K counter. The stats are already excellent. Supernova searchable. The 5 cost stat line, like I said, is just perfect. And then on play, locking down a character or Dawn. The crazy part is you can lock down a rested character or a rested Dawn card until you know, and for the turn, however you want to say that. Really good. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. Green's got some really good stuff. Yeah. Oh wow, look at this. This parallel art. Big fan. This is really cool. You got her eating a pizza. She's got like a, what is that? Like a huge thing of meat on the other hand there. Some kind of, you know, what is that? I don't even know what that is. A big turkey leg or something. Just awesome. This picture's great. Next up, we got Jinbei. This is just a 4 cost, 6,000 power, 1,000 counter vanilla character, Fishman Sun Pirates type character. Okay, so this is just a solid 4 cost, 6K Fishman type. So that should help out with whatever that, you know, they're trying to make like a Fishman type theme really work. And who knows, it might have what it needs currently. Excuse me, currently. But I think it's a little ways off. We'll have to see. Next up is Scratchman Apu. This is a 6 cost, 8,000 power, 1,000 counter, vanilla Supernova pirate or Supernova on Air Pirates character, vanilla. So both of these, by the way, I'm just giving 5 out of 10. They're just vanillas, nothing too special to talk about here. Okay, next up we got another super rare. This is Basil Hawkins. And let me check something real quick. Was excuse me, guys. Yeah, this was a super rare. The Bonnie was. And now Basil Hawkins is as well. This is a 6 cost, 7,000 power, no counter, Supernova Hawkins Pirate. Effect. If your leader has the Supernova type, this character gains blocker. Another blocker, guys. This is crazy. Once per turn, if this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect. Okay, that sounds like an L. You may rest one of your opponent's characters instead. Okay, so literally this card, and this is by opponent's effect. So if it can't like block out and do this, but if you try to KO it or bottom deck it or bounce it in any kind of way, if this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, instead you may rest one of their characters. Not their leader, but one of their characters. This card is very powerful. This is like another 8 out of 10 or 8.5, 9 out of 10. Like these cards are just incredible. Like this Jewelry Bonnie, Basil Hawkins. These cards are just absolutely incredible, guys. And y'all tell me if I'm crazy. Am I overrating? Maybe I'm rating these too highly. I don't know. They seem like they're so good. This alt art looks really solid. But I think in this case I actually like the SR better, or the standard one better than the alt art. That's just me personally. I don't think I like the purple with the green. Something's going on there. I'm not a huge fan. But this just looks really cool to me. Yeah, and Supernova type. Yeah, this card kind of has everything but a counter. And then it would probably just be broken. A 6 cost 7K with a counter and blocker and this effect. Just wild. Just absolutely wild. Really strong card. Okay, next up we have Papag. When I look at this, I want to say Papa G. P-A-P-P-A-G. Papag. He's a 2-cost, 0 power, 2000 counter, animal type character. If you have a Kami character, this character gains blocker. Wow, another potential blocker here. This is a 2-cost 2K, 0 power card. Being a 2K, this is already a 7 out of 10 for me. With the potential to have blocker. It is a conditional blocker, though. That's one thing I'm not a big fan of, that is conditional. And he's a 0 power blocker, so like probably anything can pop this if you need to get around it, only 2 cost. This sounds crazy, but I almost wish he was like a 5-cost blocker or something, just so he had a little protection from cost reduction. But being a 0 power, again, that red cards are just going to be able to pop this. Blue cards like Hound Blaze doesn't have to pump a card to get around, or doesn't have to cost reduce this to get around it. The 2K counter saw it. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. But as far as the effect itself goes, it's better than nothing, right? It does have some utility, but the chances of this sticking as a 2-cost 0 power blocker, even having a Kami on the board like this late in the game is probably hard to ask for. Okay, next up, Bartolomeo. This is a 3-cost, 4,000 power, 1,000 counter blocker. Your turn, once per turn. If a character is rested by your effect, excuse me, guys, got to adjust the mustache. I need to shave. That's what I really need to do. It's getting crazy. But sorry. So 3-cost, 4K, 1K counter, Supernova, Bardo Club, blocker. Your turn, once per turn. If a character is rested by your effect, draw 1 card and trash 1 card from your hand. If a character is rested by your effect, so I mean it is a once per turn at least. Okay, it's your turn, not your opponent's turn. Okay, I was gonna say with your leader's effect, this would just be insane, but it's on your turn and he's a blocker. Kind of weird. I actually think it should be on your opponent's turn to synergize with the leader, but either way, I think this card's still fine. It's a nice 3-cost 4K, 1K counter blocker. This is like the Dofi stat line, the 3-cost 4K counter, 3-cost 4K, 1K counter Doflamingo blocker. It looks like they're starting to send those around the different colors. Because if y'all haven't noticed by now, they do this for every color. Like, at first, only red had a, the 1-cost, like, Rad Beam, right? But then they gave it a black with barrier, and I think they'll eventually give it to everyone, like 1-cost Narukabura Arrow. Now, that's just a 1-cost 3K, but I think y'all get what I'm saying. Whenever there's, like, a card that has, like, strong utility, they end up giving it to everyone. And this is just like with the 3-cost 1,000 counter, 1,000 power blockers that play from trigger, like Boa Hancock, Nefeltari Vivi, and Brule. They're all the same card, just different colors. So this is green's version of Dofi, and I think it's solid. I think it's good. I wish it said your opponent's turn, so it would work with your think about it. Then it would work with the event, the Punk Gibson, with triggers, with your leader. I wish it said your opponent's turn once per turn, but it's still solid. It's still a fine card. So I'll give this like a 7.5 out of 10. Next up, we have Fisher Tiger. So this is a 5-cost 6K, 1K counter, Fishman Sun Pirates type. This character can attack characters on the turn in which it is played. Okay, so it's kind of like the Dressrosa stage. The Dressrosa stage, where your character, for the Dressrosa stage, your Dressrosa characters can attack characters the turn they're played, but it still has to be the way they are, right? So in other words, if it's an active character, you can't attack it unless your character specifically says otherwise. And then on play, if your leader has the Fishman or Merfolk type, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less. So you're going to be able to on play this, rest their 6 or less, and swing in for 6 with him right away. That's pretty solid. So this card's pretty good, especially if you play it on curve and they drop down a 4 cost. The biggest that thing's going to be is probably a 6K. So you'll just be able to bash into it and get a free card out of hand or better, right? Or get rid of their character. And he is a 5-cost 6K with a 1K counter. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this card. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. Next up is Monkey D. Luffy. We've got a 5-cost 6K, 1K counter, Supernova Straw Hat Crew type. Okay, so all the relevant types there. Strong stat line, 5 cost. If you have 3 or more characters, so law, right? Immediately red, green law is what we're thinking. If you have 3 or more characters, your characters with a cost of 3 or less, other than Monkey D. Luffy, cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. Okay, I think I did mention this card in a video. And yeah, this card's incredible. It's a 5 cost 6K 1K counter. So 5 costs for Law. Supernova Straw Hat Crew searchable, you know, with Nami and Bonnie Jewelry. And 1K counter, like I said, that's crazy on a 5 cost 6K body with this kind of effect. And then if you have 3 or more characters, your characters with a cost of 3 or less other than Luffy cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects. So this is just, you know, the reason it says 3 or less other than Luffy is your opponent's probably going to have to reduce his cost just to KO him. And then imagine if they did that, if they reduced his cost down to 2, and now they can't even KO him. So they had to add the wording like that so that he could be KO'd himself. If you have 3 or more characters, your characters with a cost of 3 or less other than Monkey D. Luffy cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects, yeah. This card's awesome, 9 out of 10. Maybe higher, but I'm going with a 9 out of 10. Really good card. Okay, we got Zoro here. 1 cost, 2,000 power, 1,000 counter, Supernova Straw Hat Crew type. The effect is when attacking, if you have 3 or more characters, so again, a Law style card here, this character gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. So this isn't really the kind of card that Law wants. Who knows? It can use it. I'm not saying it can't use it, obviously. It is a 1 cost green card, you know, so, but think about it. That spot is already held by Beige, and I don't know. When attacking, if you have 3 or more characters, this character gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. It's definitely not a bad card. Maybe it'll find its place in the deck as a 1 or 2 of, but the list for Law is really tight already. And if we're looking at adding a card, that, you know, if they, I shouldn't say we, because I don't really play much red green Law. I only played it a little bit. But if they're looking at adding this Luffy card, if they're looking at adding, well, potentially this Bartolomeo, because it's 3 cost 4K. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying that's a potential. This Basil Hawkins card has potential, and then the Bonnie card. You know, it's going to be hard to find the spots needed to justify running a card like this. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 because it's a little bit worse than a vanilla card. A vanilla Supernova Straw Hat Crew card would be a 1 cost 3,000 power 1,000 counter, and this thing has with the effect you can basically make it 1,000 power more than a vanilla. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this one, to be honest. I'm just going to give it a 5 out of 10. All right, next up we have Karmic Punishment. Got a lot to read here. Let me make sure. Okay, good. We're not doing too bad on time. So Karmic Punishment is a 1 cost Supernova Fallen Monk Pirates type event that has the effect counter up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 2,000 power during this battle. Okay, so 1 cost plus 2,000 power, leader or character. Then if you have 3 or more characters, that card gains an additional plus 1,000 power during this battle. Okay, interesting. I was just talking about Narukabura Arrow and 1 cost 3Ks like with Rad Beam. Really, I should have said like with Guard Point, with Narukabura Arrow. You know, and there's cards like that. And I guess this is Green's. This is kind of like Green's version of Guard Point, I guess. It's at least close to it. But and it really seems like it's more for Law, for Red Green Trafalgar Law. Trigger has, now that's a solid trigger. KO up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 4 or less. Yep, we'll take it every time. I'll say this, I think the card's not bad. It is a 1 cost 2K counter, and it has a trigger to KO, you know, rested characters that cost 4 or less. That'll help, for example, against like yellow decks that have yellow. You know, a lot of trigger characters are 4 cost 5Ks or 4 cost 6Ks or whatever, like in the case of Kikanojo. So I think the trigger's solid. I think the trigger's fine, and the 1 cost 2K is fine. And as long as you can usually have 3 or more characters, a 1 cost 3K is actually very nice. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. It is conditional, but it's always bare minimum a 1 cost 2K. And the trigger is always obviously what it is. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Okay, next up we have Demonic Aura, 9 sword style, Assure a Demon, 9 flash. Okay, that might be the best name I've ever heard in this game. So this is a 2 cost Supernova Straw Hat Crew type, with the effect of up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. So it's a 2 cost. Oh, it's okay. Hang on. It's a main. It's a main effect. So here, so this is like their Hound Blaze or 200 million volts of Maru. Okay. So let me read that again. Main, up to one of your leader or character cards excuse me, gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. Then you may rest one of your characters with a cost of 3 or more. If you do, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Okay. And then triggers, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Really tricky wording going on here. So you're getting plus 3,000, and then you have to rest one of your characters with a cost of 3 or more to rest one of their characters with a cost of 5 or less. Oh, man, I don't like that condition at the end. And honestly, this just feels like 200 million volts of Mario almost. Like, I get it. There's always like this condition to these 2-cost 3Ks. Like with 200 million volts of Mario, you have to have 1 life to rest their character. With Houndblaze, it has to be a 2-cost card. And in this case, you have to rest a 3 or more to rest one of their 5 or less. I'm sure there's a card you're going to find to combo with this. Maybe, like, I mean, for example, didn't we just see, like, where was that 3-cost? Maybe something like this with the Bartolomeo. That way you can rest this card. But see, this is the card you'd want to give the buff to. I mean, it would work, right? You'd rest your 3 or more. So you'd rest Bartolomeo to rest their card, which will allow you to draw a card and trash a card from your hand. I'm sure there's going to be a good card with this effect. But generally speaking, okay, hang on. I'm starting to think maybe you'll be able to unrest, you'll be able to make the card active with something like the 5-cost Trafalgar Law effect that makes the card active. Or you'd be able to bounce it back to your hand with the 5-cost Law. I'm sure this has some strong ways to use it. Either way, solid card. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 because we've seen, even though I can't think of like a perfect example off the top of my head, these 2-cost plus 3Ks are absolutely insane. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. This is probably the weakest one so far out of like 200 million volts of Maru and Houndblaze, but that's not saying much. I mean, those are probably 9 out of 10s and 9 out of 10 for Houndblaze, 8 out of 10 for 200 million volts of Maru, or maybe even 8.5 out of 10. This is probably like a 7.5 out of 10. Really solid. Okay, next up we got more pizza. This is a 1-cost Supernova Bonnie Pirate type event. I'm going to read the trigger first. Draw 1 card. Really solid trigger. And then main, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Supernova type card other than More Pizza and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So top 5 Supernova Searcher event. Trigger, draw card. Yeah, solid. I'm just going to give it a 6 out of 10 or 6.5 out of 10 because it's a little worse than the searchers that have a body attached because you're getting this effect and then it's gone. Whereas like with a Jewelry Bonnie, they have to swing into that. Or with like a Nami, they have to use removal to get rid of that. This is just the searcher. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Really solid though. Okay, and next up we got blue. So guys, green looks absolutely stacked. Demonic Aura 9 Sword Style Asura Demon 9 Flash. One of the best names I've ever seen on a card. Karmic Justice was fine too. But this Luffy card, Bartolomeo was solid. Basil Hawkins, Jewelry Bonnie. Oh, this Caribou was just solid, period. Even not in a Caribou Pirates type deck. It's even Supernova. Wow, that's just awesome. This card was excellent. This Otama was just solid. Good 2K searcher. This Uruj guy, however you say that name, excellent. And then the leader's outstanding. Well, guys, green looked so far. I'm only two colors in, at the time you're recording this video, but green looked way better than red. Green looks like it's got just tons of solid cards. And y'all tell me what y'all think. Am I crazy? I don't play a lot of green, so maybe I'm overlooking it, like thinking like, oh, this card's way better than it is or something. Because my primary colors, for those who don't know, for those who don't follow the channel very often, my main colors are blue, black, and yellow. I don't play a lot of red, green, and purple. I know how to play them, and I'll play them on occasion, but my colors are blue, black, and yellow. So maybe I'm looking at these like, man, these cards seem broken. But if you're a green player, maybe you're just thinking, yeah, they're just solid. We need those. And I'm not saying you don't need them. I'm just saying these are just incredible cards. All right, guys, that's about it. Y'all tell me what y'all think down in the comment section below. Green looks incredible. Not enough good things to say about those cards I saw. Some of those cards made me want to play Red Green Law again. And I've only played that game a few times just to say I played it. Because, again, it's not really my style. But seeing some of those cards made me want to give that a try. All right, guys, that's about it. I hope y'all enjoyed. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you've not already. And yeah, let's end it there. Until next time, guys. Peace.